When a man is ordained a priest, he is changed ontologically. He is made a different brand of human being, a little less than the angels.
My film, Mea Maxima Culpa, Silence in the House of God, is a film about sex abuse in the Catholic Church that follows a case from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or a priest abusing 200 deaf children all the way to the top of the power structure in Rome, to the Pope himself. You know, I see myself as a filmmaker with journalistic baggage. In terms of the journalism for me is in the fact gathering and also finding out details of the story that otherwise you wouldn't see in a quick hit or in a nightly news program. I first heard about the story when I read about it, frankly, in the New York Times. And what was so resonant about the story was not only how horrible it was, because the victims were so vulnerable, they were deaf. And this priest preyed on them in many cases because their parents couldn't sign, so they actually couldn't communicate the crimes to their own parents. But the other thing about the story that was so powerful was in fighting back, some of these victims uncovered documents that show that the cover-up of this crime leads directly to the office of the Pope. We got access to everyone except the church. The church's doors were closed to us. Silence in the house of God might be a metaphor for our experiences when we went for comment to the church. Utter silence. We were looking for patterns of abuse, to see whether or not what happens in Milwaukee reveals itself somehow someplace else. One of the most shocking things to us and surprising was the way we were in Italy trying to follow the Rome story. We were told, oh, you must know about this deaf school in Verona where all these deaf children were abused. We had no idea. But there was an exact parallel right there in the shadow of the Vatican. So the Vatican is very fond of saying, oh, this is an American problem. Well, it's quite clearly not an American problem. It's quite clearly a worldwide problem of an institution that's trying to cover up crimes. So that was interesting to actually see it and to get a hold of it. The other thing was, how were we going to reckon with some kind of emotional moment for these survivors to kind of confront the people who had perpetrated the crimes? And we discovered, or there was a rumor that there was a videotape of these deaf survivors actually confronting the man who had abused them. And indeed there was. It took us a long time to find it. But by reaching out to the family of one of these guys who had resisted and fought back, we found this extraordinary videotape of these deaf guys going up as adult men and confronting the man who had abused them. The film took about 2 years from soup to nuts to make, from the moment we conceived it to raising the money to then putting it together. And it's not like the roles are segmented. Very often we'll go into the cutting room and then constantly be looking for other people to find, to seek out, and we'll find something that'll completely turn the editing process on its head. So shooting goes on simultaneously with the editing. And sometimes we have to stop the film and just walk away from it for a while, either because we need more perspective or we need to find some key element. So it took about 2 years from soup to nuts. It's not about thumbs up, thumbs down, this issue is good, this issue is bad. It's about who are these people? And it's about more shades of gray than issues of black and white, at least in my mind. This is a crime film at its heart. It's not a film about religion, it's a film about crime.